Welcome back. To my left, to your right, we have Vimari Roman with us. Welcome to our digital broadcast. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. A little puffy, but it's the third day.
Do you want to explain why you're to the audience why you're a little puffy? Because you were up late, weren't you?
I don't drink, but I was at the bar till 1
Okay.
networking.
Networking. Okay. Now, fun fact is that you and I crossed paths. I bet you didn't even realize that. We were both working in Miami in 1999 and 2000 and 2001.
That's why you look so
Uh-huh. Yes,
familiar.
I've saved it till now to share with you. You were at the Sinesta,
Yes,
and I was at the Biscayne Bay Marriott downtown.
I remember
Yes, so
that. Oh
yes,
my God,
fun
you're
fact.
aging us.
Yes, don't worry. We still, you wouldn't guess we were over 30 if you looked at us today, so don't worry. Okay,
Okay.
30 seconds left. Who is Vimari?
Who is Vimari? So Vimari is a hotelier at heart.
Mhm.
I'm a second generation hotelier. My dad was a general manager for hotels.
Okay.
And I spent 22 years in hotels before transitioning over to meeting planning with my first company in 2013, Be Productive Meetings and Events. And quickly realized that I was really good at it, had great contacts, but I missed the coaching and mentoring component of my teams.
Okay.
So that's when at Be Productive, I was certified as a leadership coach,
Mm-hmm.
and Be Productive Coaching was born in 2014. And today I help professionals transition to the next step of their careers with purpose through professional branding, coaching, career strategies, and mental fitness.
Okay, you left a lot of things that are discussed. Well, you mentioned mental fitness. I'm glad you said that. What are three things leaders can do to improve our mental fitness?
First of all, we need to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing, is to
Okay.
realize that, like physical fitness, it needs a regimen. And so, I probably didn't know for many years also that our brains have muscles and we could actually exercise those muscles. And that's where the mental fitness comes in. So, if we're trying to run a marathon and or climb Mount Everest, we're going to need to train to do that. We can't just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to go and walk and, or run that marathon. Same thing is with our mountains, the mountains that we face in life.
Mm.
We need to train our brains. Our brains are just naturally wired to go to survival. And so if we train our brains through mindfulness practices, meditation, we can actually rewire our brains to go over to the thriving.
Okay. What is an exercise? Let's say we leave the conference or go back home. What can I start to do immediately to really improve my mental fitness? What are some exercises I can do?
Okay. So, what I love about, I'm a certified positive intelligence coach. I
Oh,
got certified in 21.
okay.
This is based on the Positive Intelligence book that was written by Shirzad Chamine. It's a New York Times bestseller. And in 2020, he realized that he already had it in his brain, I'm sure, that he wanted to put out a program for positive intelligence and mental fitness. But in 2020, it accelerated because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
He said, this work needs to go out. So he put out a grant for coaches. And my partner in positive intelligence, Rochelle Stone, who's here coaching at MPI, she's the first one that learned about it. And then she introduced me to the program. At that time, believe it or not, as a coach, I was about to burn out. And
Mm.
that's because I focus in career transitions and the hospitality. That's what actually came back to the hospitality industry, because it broke my heart with all the furloughs and the layoffs. And so I was trying to help everyone.
Hmm.
I was making it happen. And so December 2020, I was almost burnt out.
Mm.
She reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you do this program with me?" Because she wanted to get certified. And immediately I knew that I wanted to get certified. Now, I know that that's long
It's
winded
okay.
for
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but I'm going to
okay.
get there. I'm going to
Okay,
get to
you're
your
gonna
question.
land the
Okay, yeah,
plane. Yes.
exactly. So, what can you do? What
Right.
I learned there is I've never really been able to sustain a meditation practice because I just don't have the time, right?
Mhm.
I'm a type A personality, probably a little ADD, so just didn't have the time. And mindfulness I liked because I felt like I could go outside and recognize the colors and and all of that. With positive intelligence, we have these gym reps that are called PQ reps. And so PQ stands for positive intelligence quotient. You know how you have emotional intelligence
Yeah.
quotient? Okay.
Right. Right.
So it's positive intelligence quotient. So it's a PQ rep, and they're very simple. And I'm actually doing one right now so that I don't feel nervous when I'm speaking to you.
Oh,
And you don't
okay.
know that.
Okay.
And so they can be done anywhere, but I am going to demonstrate. So it's as simple as rubbing two fingertips together,
Yes. Yes.
and you can do this anywhere and
Mm.
just focus on the ridges of your fingertips and feeling the differences. And so what I do is if I'm speaking on the stage, I can just do this at the bottom,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
I can do it anywhere. No one will know what I'm doing. And then it's going to be hard for me to do this one with, holding the microphone, but you can rub your palms together.
Okay.
Oftentimes you see people rubbing their palms together, and it's almost like a nervous thing. But it actually, if you just focus on that sensation, the differences of your fingers, if you have rings on, you feel the rings, and just focus on that. We recommend 2 minutes. That
Okay.
will give you the same sensation and shift your brain from survival to thriving within 2 minutes, actually in
Okay.
less time than if you spent an hour in meditation. Same thing.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You
Long winded,
mentioned
I'm sorry.
it's okay. We love the example. We love, we're gonna I'm gonna start to rub my fingers because it's you here right now. We're gonna go. It's gonna be good. Yes. I want to you mentioned nervousness, and I want to ask you about fear.
Mhm,
Because I know you spoke about fear before. And it's a popular topic now.
mhm.
So what is your definition of fear, and how can we prevent fear from holding us back personally and professionally?
Yes. Fear is real and we all face it. My definition is face everything and rise.
Oh, okay.
That's my
I
definition.
like that.
In 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was just like, what's happening? No one knew what was happening. So I started a support group, not knowing where our mental health was going. I immediately started a support group. I didn't know what a support group was. I
Hmm.
coach, but I didn't know. And I called it Face Everything in Rice. So because I knew that there was so much fear out there. And what we can do is educate ourselves and really just gain tools to face those fears and realize that and work on things that we do have control to gain our confidence and realize that life is about choices, and if we don't take risk and we don't make choices, we're just going to continue to live in fear. So you could either continue to live in fear
Hmm.
or you can rise above it.
Okay. You mentioned risks. What is in your career? What has been the biggest risk you took, and how did it turn out?
I would have to say it was leaving an industry that I was very comfortable in for 22 years and believing in myself that I could become an entrepreneur without a plan, without a business plan. I was just burnt out. I left my last hotel as a director of sales and marketing, decided to take 2 months off to just,
Yeah.
recoup,
Rest.
rest. And then I looked around and I said, there's not a hotel out there that I'm excited about. Right. And I'm been there, done that, I felt like, right. And so decided I'm gonna go on my own. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. And I got a phone call and someone was referred to me from someone I met at Sonesta. It was a client at
Okay.
Sonesta who
Okay.
referred
Hmm.
this person to me. And she calls me. She says, "Famari, I'm thinking that you're." She thought I was at that hotel, and I said, "Well, I've got to plan this meeting. I have no idea. I've never planned a meeting. I'm a marketing manager, and Matt said that you're the person to speak to." And I said, "Okay, well, that's great." I was low at that moment. I'm like, "What am I doing?"
Hmm.
And I'm sitting in front of the TV, and I don't watch TV, but I'm sitting in front of the TV, and that's when that phone call came in, and I just said, I'm independent now, but I can help you. Absolutely. And that's
Okay.
how Be Productive Meetings and Events
Okay.
was born.
Yes. Yes. That works. That works. And from there.
From there on, I just took off. So that was the first thing. And I think that was like the biggest risk.
Okay.
And I knew that my connections and my network I could leverage that. I was still scared, but I still did it. And at the same time, I was getting divorced.
Okay.
So I didn't have a plan, but I still did it. And I think that would be the probably my proudest moment
Okay, I like it. Yes,
and the
yes.
biggest risk I've ever taken.
So hearing you tell your stories, I'm curious if maybe you could go back to when you first started your career.
Hmm.
Everything you've learned, and I love to ask this question.
Uh-huh.
People will know I love to ask this question. What advice would you give, like the younger Amari who's just starting out, based on what you've learned throughout your entire career so far?
You need to advocate for yourself.
Oh, and I'm going to talk about that later on today. But keep going. Tell us why.
Advocate for yourself. So I started very young. As I mentioned when we started, I'm a second generation hotelier. My dad did give me my first job. I was working at a front desk part time while in high school at 15 years old. And by the time I was 18, you know how turnover is in the hotel industry. I was the supervisor already.
Right, right.
So
Yes.
and but it came to a point where unfortunately I had to make a decision to move out on my own right after high school. It was that or move to Miami with my mom. But my dad married someone I was not very happy with, and he's not with her anymore. So yeah. Anyhow,
Okay.
but at that point, I knew I needed to make more money because I was going to be living by myself. And I'm very proud of the fact, this is before Google, that I put together that's when my branding started, right? Because I put together my resume and I looked in the yellow pages and identified different hotels
Okay.
that were luxury and that I could move to in Manhattan because I wanted to work in New York City.
Okay.
And I faxed my resume to these hotels with a cover letter. And I was called in for interviews. I took the train and went in and I transitioned. Well, I went in and I didn't tell my dad anything because I wanted to do this on my own. And I went in and gave him my 2 weeks notice with a
Mm,
written letter.
mm,
And my career took off. But throughout my career, so I started as a front desk agent from
right.
supervisor, just because I said, okay, my dad, I had the self doubt, imposter syndrome. So I started as a front desk agent, and they said, we'll move you up. And it was Manhattan East Suite Hotels, which is Athenia now. It was owned still by their family, the Denahan family. And they promoted me within 6 months to supervisor. And from there on, I just, if I needed to do something,
Hmm.
because to take that next step, I just
Right.
advocated for myself.
Okay.
After 10 years, I didn't want to be in operations anymore. And I went to my general manager at the Sonesta. He was
Okay.
Alan Sonovan.
Hmm.
I thank him because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. I didn't see myself as a salesperson. I was the assistant front office manager at the Sonesta. And I went to him and I said, Alan, I love this industry. I'm done with operations or with rooms.
Right.
I love to eat, but I'm not working in food and beverage.
Right.
What do I do?
Hmm.
And he says sales. And he's the one that actually they
Yeah.
created a position for me at the Sonesta
Amazing.
for sales. And so I was able to have those opportunities because I advocated for myself,
And there we
right?
go.
And I raised my hand. So that's my biggest that one thing is just advocate for yourself.
Got it. Tell the people in the chat and are watching how they can find you and best support you and reach out to you if they're interested in learning more about you.
Yep. So I'm on LinkedIn. So please do connect. That's the best place. I do post there. I share information. I am on Instagram and Facebook. I'm a little bit more on Instagram than Facebook, but
Okay.
you can find me there. It's Be Productive Coaching on Instagram and Facebook. And on LinkedIn is Vamari Roman. And I do also have a Be Productive Coaching page on LinkedIn. So, but I was recognized in 2019 by LinkedIn as a LinkedIn expert.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's the place where I spend most of my time.
Okay, so I'm going to shout out Devin in the chat. I really enjoyed your session yesterday, Devin. So thank you very much. Mandy, my sweater vest. We're working with a nice jacket today. We had to switch it up a little bit, Mandy. So thank you. And Steve, hello there. As we kind of take our outro and we finish, maybe you can leave us with just 2 or 3 LinkedIn tips that can be really beneficial for people who are trying to enhance and improve their profiles.
Okay. LinkedIn should never be private. Okay. So you're on LinkedIn to network. It's your online resume. Everyone needs a presence on the internet. Otherwise, they're going to Google you. So just make it easy for them. Make sure you have a wonderful photo looking at the camera so that people can really see who you are. That space underneath your name is prime real estate. LinkedIn will automatically put your title there. But what you can do is utilize it to really put your value proposition there or keywords of what your expertise is. And then lastly, the about section. LinkedIn gives you 2,000 characters there to really, because they know they've done the research that people read that. And so the algorithms will also push you up. Recruiters will read it. And I see maybe 90% of people do not have anything under about or a
Okay.
one liner when you have
Okay.
2,000 characters.
All right. Good. Great tips for LinkedIn today. Thank you very much. Good luck in the rest of your sessions, and we'll be sure to stay in touch
Thank
with you.
you.
Awesome.
I can't believe we go way back.
We go way back. We definitely do. We're going to watch a quick commercial. We're going to come back and learn some things about AI. So we'll be right back.